Hi again. This week, I'm doing more of a free flow practice, and this is what I would do for a splits preparation before I really want to work into my hamstrings and try to go for my splits for the day. It takes time. I can't just slide into the splits. My legs need some prep work and some time to warm up. So this is what I do. And normally I practice and plan these flows before I record them. This is completely unrehearsed, so you'll just follow along with what I do normally when I'm just warming up specifically for the splits. So this isn't really a flow, it's just specific stretches that I use to get ready for that practice. So if you are looking at improving your splits and want to find a few movements that might work for you for stretching into your hamstrings, this could be the place for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this mat. I shouldn't need this for this practice today. Go ahead and come onto your back on your mat. We're going to start gently. And we'll come into a half happy baby. So keep the right foot planted onto the floor. Draw that left knee in. And then take a hold of the outside of the left foot as you draw that left knee into the armpit. So I like to start out here because generally my hamstrings are not very cooperative. And it's a nice place to just start to ease into the hips and get them to be a little cooperative as well. As you're in your half happy baby, at some point, I do start to extend that right leg straight. The right hand just resting on the top of the right pelvis to keep it glued to the earth. At the same time, I'm not just resting in this pose. I'm really pulling that left knee down. So I have a very good hold onto that outside edge of that left foot. Pushing it in. At the same time, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, I just remember to keep breathing. Reset your nervous system. Make sure everything is all right. Assure your body that this is a safe practice. And then usually in this half happy baby pose, I might start to extend and then draw the knee back down. A good place to do that, because usually extension is a lot. You might want to keep the right knee bent as you extend the left, and then draw that knee back into the armpit. Extend it, and draw it back down. Extending long, and then draw it back down again. On the next extension, keep that left foot or leg extended, and then maybe you can bring that right leg more straight. And now you're in a very deep hamstring stretch here, almost like taking the splits on your back. Quite difficult. I know some people can draw that left foot all the way down towards the earth. I am not there yet. Actually having some issues with the left leg here. So we'll see how it can be cooperative today. Just having some issues into my quad, but that is specific, of course, for me. So maybe you're here, maybe you're less, maybe you're a little bit more, but wherever you're at. And you maybe can't tell on camera here either, but I'm actually, instead of drawing the left foot straight back towards my nose, I do have it off towards the left slightly, towards the left shoulder. So I'm opening up a little bit more into the hip. Now, if you want to have this go even more deeply into the hamstring, then you would have that left foot, the left leg, directly in front of the torso. And that hamstring is going to really feel that because there's more restriction there. So work into the hip, work into the hamstring, feel it out in both directions. Don't worry about moving that left leg around a little bit just to notice the difference. From here, let's go ahead and switch legs, and we'll take that half happy baby on the right side. Keep the left foot connected to the earth, and then draw that right knee into the armpit. Take a hold of the outside edge of that right foot. Really pull that knee down. Take a few breaths here just to feel the hips start to loosen up. And then maybe extend that left leg out long. I just kind of ran into my blocks. You may want some blocks for your warm-up into splits. They are extremely helpful. Especially, you can start at a higher position and work yourself down. Some days I get all the way to the ground. Some days my body is just not feeling it. Very good. One more nice breath here. You might be able to tell I'm pulling so deeply on this right leg that my right leg is shaking. Draw the left foot in, and you can bend that left knee. And we're going to straighten this right knee out again, just like we did on the left side, warming up those back hamstrings into the right leg. You're probably getting a lot of feedback from the back of the leg, from the back body. We'll go one more, straighten, and then wherever you're at, you can start to extend that left leg long. You can have one hand holding the right leg, maybe two, whatever feels good. And again, I begin by drawing the right leg a little bit more at a diagonal off towards the back right edge of the corner instead of drawing it directly down towards my nose. This is to encourage the hip. At the same time, yes, you do feel it into the hamstring, just in a little bit of a different spot. At the same time, also, my feet have been flexed as much as I can keep them flexed. That keeps the length of the hamstring going on as well. If you had it off to the side, you can start to draw it in towards the nose. It may not be in as close as it was before. Just keep that foot flexed. Push through the heel. Very good. One more deep breath. And exhale. Draw that foot down. And we'll start to roll ourselves up. I'm just going to reposition my blocks here. We'll use those at the end once we're getting into our splits. And of course, one of the best things that you can do for your full splits is a half split. So we'll start on the left side. Keep the right hip above the right knee. And then take that left foot out in front of you, flex the foot, take the hands out up to your fingertips, and then we'll start to lead with the chest. Keep the spine long, and slowly lower the spine to whatever position you can tolerate. Now, I'm really focusing on driving that heel into the mat, and I'm keeping a slight bend in the knee. And I'm pushing very, very hard in a downward motion with the heel. And I'm feeling that very deeply into the back of the left hamstring. Now, as I keep that going on, I also start to tilt my tailbone. It's almost imperceptible when you see it, but I can feel it very much. And now I have that driving motion of pulling onto the back of this back side of my left thigh. Still breathing. Relax the chest, relax the chin, relax the face. Working from a safe posture. If you feel like you've gone too deep, come out of it slightly. Very good. From here, We'll stay on the left side since we're already in that area and shift the hips forward. Take the left hand into the inside of the left foot. We'll come into our lizard pose. In your lizard, we'll feel the hips sink down. Maybe come all the way down to your forearms. I like to keep the left shin glued to the upper side of the left upper arm. Again, keeping this more active, feeling that hip work. And then again, refocus your strength into your spine. And as you start to feel like you're keeping the spine more straight, that in turn will make the hip work a little bit more. You'll feel more heat into that left hip. Very good. On the next breath, let's go ahead and lift up onto the hands. And we're just going to shift that back leg, lift it up, and we're going to come into a standing splits position. So all different names for the splits. Well, they are definitely good preps for the split pose. So they work all those areas, the hamstrings and the hips and the legs, and get into all of that just so that you can get a little bit warmed up before you drop into your splits. So the hands are just in front of the left foot. Let's inhale the right foot up to the sky, as high as you can lift it. Focus on engaging that right quad. Drop the head. And from here, we'll drop that right knee down, bend the left knee, and then lift it back up towards the sky. So we're going to have a little bit more of an active practice. We'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Hold. Take a nice deep breath. And then exhale. Draw that right foot in besides the left, and we'll just hang here for a moment in our hanging forward fold. Maybe grab the elbows. Shift the weight into the balls of the feet. And you can also have the hands resting on the mat. Very good. From here, we're going to step that left foot back. Allow the knee to plant down onto the earth, and we'll take the half splits on the right side. So push that right foot out. Check your alignment. The hips should be about above the left knee. And then flex that right foot. Drive the heel down into the mat. I cannot stress that enough. This needs to be an active stretch if we're really looking at getting deep into the hamstrings. And then from there, take a little inhale, lengthen the spine, and on the exhale, reach the chest forward. Think of tilting that tailbone just a little more. It's just barely noticeable. I am feeling this intensely on my right hamstring. Keep breathing. On the next inhale, let's come into that lizard pose. The right foot comes out to the outside of the right hand. And then either staying up on your hands, or you can lower all the way down onto your forearms. Keep that right shin drawing in towards the right upper arm. And then think about keeping the spine nice and long, dropping the hips. So there's less rounding in the upper back, more of a nice ski slope spine. All right, on the next inhale, we'll go ahead and lift up. And then walk that foot back in towards center. Tuck the back toes. We'll come into our standing splits on the right side. Lifting the back leg and then dropping the head as you draw that left foot up towards the sky. Engage the left quad. And then draw the knee down behind the right leg. And then bend the right knee. Lift it back up for your standing splits for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Let's hold it here. Lift. And then exhale, draw that left foot back down. Very good. Around this time is when I will try my splits to see how I'm doing. Usually that's about what I will need to really feel like I'm ready and prepared for the splits for the day. You could go on and on. For me personally, I find if I overdo it, then my legs just want to fight me. So let's go ahead and grab a block or a pillow, or if you're using a pillow. I have a couple of different blocks here that are different thickness. So these are a little harder to find, but I did find them on Amazon, and they're only about 2 inches thick, whereas this is the 4-inch standard block. Whatever you feel like you're ready for. I usually like to keep the blocks on their side to help me get set up in my splits pose. So extend that left foot out in front of you, start to walk the right leg back. And then if you need to, you can pop a block underneath that left leg, usually just above the knee. We don't want it right on the knee, but just behind that left hamstring. And you'll hold it here. This is a great place to practice your form in the splits so that you're not leaning forward. You're not going back. You're just nice and upright. And also that the hips are square. So think about drawing that right hip down towards the mat. And you'll still be working the stretch alongside that front of the right hip. And I'll hold this anywhere from usually about 1 to 2 minutes. My tailbone is still slightly tucked and I'm drawing the belly in. So I'm not just resting. I don't just fall into the splits. It's still very active for me. Whenever you're ready, you can ease out of it. We'll take one more go on that left side. So you can either come a little deeper. You can stay right where you're at. You can go all the way to the floor. Whatever feels good. I'm going to just check and see how I feel with using a block that's not quite as tall. And go ahead and start coming into your splits on this side once more. And see how you feel. Sometimes you might need to do a warm-up like this more than once, run through each exercise a couple of times, but it really depends on your body. Like I said, for me, my body seems to not enjoy overdoing it. It needs just enough, and then I need to back off and then try whatever my goal pose is and see how I'm doing for that. I might be able to lower all the way down. This is my better side by far. And whenever you're ready, you can come out, take a moment, maybe sit back on your heels. And then we'll get set up for the opposite side. It is important to do both sides to make sure that we are trying to get as even as possible. Of course, each side will always feel different. We generally have one side that's easier than the other. That's totally normal. So wherever you are at, you can take your time and come into the opposite side. I'm working my right side this time, right foot in front, extending the left leg out long. And I'll pop that block underneath my right hamstring. I'll move this one so you can see a little better. Sitting up tall, tucking the tailbone, feel the left hip drawing forward and down. So even though I'm getting a little help here with this block, this hip is still working because this hip needs a little bit more space. It's not as open as my other side. So I still want to make sure that we're engaging it, making that strength and that stretching practice one intertwined practice so that we get the whole body mobility, because that's what mobility is. It's strength and it is flexibility. It's the combination of the two. And wherever you're at, if you want to come out of it, feel free. Maybe grab a smaller block or maybe a book. I did used to use blocks or for books for a little while. Those are always handy. And after you've rested, you can come back into your splits for one more try. Maybe coming a little bit lower. Wherever you feel like you're ready to be at today. Nice steady breaths. Stay in it as long as you want. I'm going to come out just for the sake of keeping this video quick, because when you are trying to work onto these new practices, sometimes it's hard to fit them into our daily routine. So hopefully this will be a nice short and sweet addition to your practice if you want to work in opening up those hamstrings, maybe getting all the way into your splits, or just making sure that you can deepen into other areas of your practice as well. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the comment button below. Leave me any comments or suggestions if you have anything that you're working on and that you need some help with. I'm happy to be there for you. And then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. New stuff out each week. Have a great day. Bye now.